Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fandom Family Chats. I am Jeanette.
I'm Eve.
And this is our Grey's Anatomy Station 19 finale episode. So this is big and exciting. Lots to talk about.
Very upsetting.
Very upsetting. Like I'm not over this at all. For the Station 19, we'll start there, obviously, because that's, what comes first. But this whole finale is set at the firefighters' ball, which I will say I did like that in that everyone looked absolutely fabulous. So that was fun. So thank you for having everybody in their dresses and tuxedos.
They all look so awesome.
They did.
The men, the women, I was in love with them all. They looked amazing.
All of them. Everybody we kept seeing them like, ooh, they look so good. Ooh, they look so good. I was like, man, y'all clean up nice, right?
And then they had that fire emergency too in their fancy clothes. Even better.
No, they can't even have a night off for a good time. Poor Jack, though. I'm not sure that he was really that upset about. Well, I mean, obviously he was upset there was an issue, but his night was going badly prior to any sort of crisis happening.
I keep forgetting about Kate, that new girl, because like they talk about her, and then I'll be like, Kate who? Oh yeah, her. But they haven't really done as much with her as I thought they were going to.
Yeah. I didn't care for her from day one. And now she's being crappy to Jack. Like, he's taking you out on a date. I don't tell my husband, but I would kill to go on a date with Jack.
No,
I love it.
If I go on a date with Jack, I'm gonna be like, yeah, tell me your life story, all about your foster sister and your parents who gave you up. Like, I want to hear it all. Like,
I'm gonna live
forget
that
about
moment.
me. Tell me all about you.
Yes, exactly, right? I mean, Jack's a good guy. So like it really makes me mad when he gets mistreated. Like he's like that little like I don't know, abandoned puppy dog that like you see on the side of the road and like you just want to scoop him up. Like that's what I always think of with Jack. Like he is like just nothing but sweetness, and all he needs is a good home and someone to love him, and I think he's going to be wonderful.
Historically, and I make it sound like I'm talking like he's from the 1600s, but you know what I mean. Like historically, Jack has never been good at taking care of himself and his own needs. He always puts everybody else first. So it's like someone like that deserves a not crappy date. Someone who's going to be like, blah, 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 something about your sister. I'm like, this is his entire life right now. If you're not into it, then just say, hey, this isn't going to work and walk away. Like, stop leading the poor guy on.
Absolutely. And when is it going to happen? Because I mean, other than Anara, which just was short lived, which I didn't love. I mean, it's okay. He's like, it's been 6 whole seasons, and the man has never had any like real like sustainable relationship.
But what's also confusing to me is that I just thought of now is she was flirting with him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe now she's realizing he's more than just a pretty face, which he is a very, very pretty face.
He's a very pretty face.
But he has a very sparkling personality that she just doesn't care about.
I don't know. I think that probably had a lot to do with, I think she's had a thing for Theo from the beginning. I think she's been wanting to come between him and Vic. And I mean, it happened this episode. So I mean,
she can have him. I don't really care.
I'm cool with it. Honestly, let's put Vic and Jack back together. I've been saying this since their drunken kiss, however many seasons ago that was. Let's do it. That was like an opportunity we didn't even touch. We didn't even touch it. So
I'm still not a fan of the idea, but you know me, I can be talked into anything. Just give me time.
I'm not like gonna stand and like, root for it and be like, trying to convince everybody. But I love Vic. I love Jack. They both deserve better. So I'm like, why not? Let's do it. Although I wasn't on last week, so we're gonna just throw this out here real quick because I don't know if I'm the only crazy person that had this minor thought. So we're gonna go back 1 week here. Did anyone, and by anyone I mean Amanda, because she's probably the only craziest one to like jump on this bandwagon with me. Did anyone feel a vibe with Vic and Beckett?
Yeah.
See, I did. I was kind of like, ooh, we could go for this.
I
like
wanted
this.
to like I'd like to say no because I don't really care much for anything to happen between them, but I did catch some kind of vibe.
I think I'm here for it now. All I needed was a redemption story on him, and last week I think I felt sorry enough for him that I got it. I'm fine. We know that I love we love him rough around the edges. So
I mean, we did say that we wanted to like Beckett, so they threw that episode at us and now we like him. So
if Vic can like him, I can definitely like him. So that would work. So that's neither here nor there for this episode, but I had to say that because I didn't get to talk to you all about it last week. Okay, speaking of vibes though, because let's see if anyone picked up on these. Was there vibes with Andy and the new, what is he, union president?
yeah. I can't remember his name, but the union president guy.
Because he was handsome. And then at first I was like, oh, he's a jerk. But then when Andy spent time with him, I was like, maybe he's not a jerk after all. Maybe we can like work with this. I'm always looking for romance because I feel like we were lacking so much romance this season. Like,
I mean, I like him. He seems
yeah.
like he'll be an interesting character. I just didn't quite catch vibes between them yet.
Okay.
Maybe it's
I might be stretching. I might be like reaching for these things just because like I feel like this whole season we got Ross and Sullivan and we got like a little touch of that like, love triangle with like Travis and Andy, and but other than that, Karina and Maya have been a mess. Like there's been no like good like love stories happening. So I've been like looking for it, I think.
There's been nothing really solid because there's been the love triangle and there's been, poor Jack who can't find love to save his life. And then Vic and Theo.
I'm done with him.
Yeah, I'm done with him. And then Ross and Sullivan have come pretty close. I mean, they have something really great, but they've just been so back and forth and up and down, sideways.
They did break my heart this week though.
They did.
I mean, Sullivan, like it's like I couldn't be mad at him completely. Because I do feel like leading up into the last couple episodes, she was not choosing him. She was choosing herself, and that's okay. Like there's nothing necessarily wrong with that either, but like I do see where his point was, that it was always all about her career, her path, and what was right for her. And now, we see in this episode that again Andy makes captain, which right now I actually don't have a problem with that because I think Andy makes a great captain, but I also still think that Sullivan does as well. So I can see where in his mind he was the clear choice, and it was only like passed over because of him being in a relationship with Ross. So I get that.
I feel like she was just in a really hard spot. And
she was.
I think I get why he's upset, but at the same time, I don't think he understands what a hard spot she's in, because yes, he has earned that, like he has earned that title. It's not like it's not like she would just be promoting him for nothing. I mean, he has deserved it, but then at the same time, it's like
look bad.
She can't completely it's not really worth destroying her career over. Like she has to. I mean, she can't be like, screw my career, I love you, which was totally
eventually
amazing.
what.
But in the grand scheme of things, like obviously it's not worth it to her.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think by the end of by this episode, that was what she was doing. But still, at the same time, I think for him, it felt like it was still her calling all the shots in their relationship. And you know what I mean? So I get why there was like that conflict in the beginning. But like, I was just like, can we make it better? Because like, I really spent a lot of time rooting for you all. And if you're not together, then I don't know. I mean, I feel like then there's no happy ending. So I was kind of rooting for that to resolve itself through the whole thing. But I mean, as far as Captain goes, I mean, Andy did deserve it. And I think everyone else agreed.
Yeah, I mean, not a single person was like surprised or disappointed or anything.
Other than Theo, right? Yeah.
Other than Theo, but he doesn't count because we hate him now.
Because even Robert, like, I feel like his disappointment was with it came from his issues with Natasha. I don't think he was actually like, he was still proud of Andy and he was still happy for her. Like, he handled it much more gracefully.
And he respects her enough to understand that she's getting this because she's earned it. Like,
Yeah.
she has the chops to pull this job off. He was just disappointed for himself, which is fine.
Yeah. And the one that, let's see, the face that I thought the cutest was when Jack heard the news. He was like, I don't know, it was just pure. Again, Jack is absolutely wonderful. And he was just so happy for
It's just
her.
like pure, like childish, like giddiness. It was just the cutest thing.
I really loved it. I really loved it. Vic, her excitement was a bit too much, in my opinion. And again, I'm over Theo, all of that, but I'm like, Vic, and I think I told you this already. Like, maybe you should have just taken just a moment to check on the man that you love before you like throw a party and like have like, start dancing on tabletops here, basically, like, because she got it. I mean, I know she didn't do that, but essentially that was the energy that came from her like announcing, which I do think that was in bad taste right there in front of him.
It was. And I 100% agree with you. It was just a really odd way. I mean, especially since she's still in a relationship, whether that relationship has gone to crap or is going great, it doesn't matter. She's still in a relationship. And it just strikes me as so weird that she didn't, like, I mean, obviously she was really excited for her friend. That's where she went towards, but it struck me as odd that she didn't stop and say, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. I have to go check and see how Theo's doing.
That should have been, in my opinion, first priority.
But my thinking is also that she is just so done with Theo and his rotten behavior that she probably really just didn't care. Yeah. Which I'm not saying that it's right that that's what she was thinking, but I think that's really where she's at right now. Is she's just like, you know what? He doesn't like this, but I don't care what he thinks because he is just a crappy human being.
And I agree with her with those statements. I mean, I don't know. It just really did. Vic's not usually that careless with other people's feelings. So it was very strange for me. I wish they had played that out differently. I wish we had shown her, because I think Theo would have still acted up. We would have still got to the same end result. I just wish for Vic's sake, we had seen her go to him first, check in on him, let him act like a jerk then, and then she can go celebrate with Andy. You know what I mean? Like, I just wish we had just flipped the order of the way those scenes played out.
I do appreciate that Andy thought to go tell Theo first, like herself.
Yes.
And I was like, Andy is proving like over and over and over and over again, I don't know how many times she needs to do this, that she deserves this spot and she's graceful. She's not just taking it, and it's not like, a whole Maya thing where she's like, I want everyone else lost.
Right.
And dang it, Theo, he's just throwing it back in her face that of course she's getting this promotion because of her relationship with Ross.
Which is just, I mean,
which is untrue. She deserved this long before Ross came into the picture.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Theo, because the Theo at the beginning of this season versus the Theo we have now, total opposites.
Complete character assassination. Like, I don't understand why they went from like 0 to 100 with his character like this way. It's just so weird.
Right? I mean, like, it's like what's funny, you mentioned Maya for a second. We didn't talk about her and Karina at all. I feel like they like completely switched spots here, because Maya was the one who would have reacted really crappy like that. And now she's so graceful about it. Just like she didn't even want it. She wasn't even putting her name out there to have part of this. She's just happy. Her and Karina are just back to being in love and things are like great. Like they were not worried at all about any of this. And that was refreshing. Whereas we had the opposite with, I mean, it was weird to see.
It's just really weird. Like, I really don't understand because we went from, he's there, he's okay, to, oh, I think I'm kind of starting to like him now, straight to, oh, never mind, now we hate him and he has to go.
Honestly, I thought he was going to die this episode because of how crappy they were making him act. And then him and Kate, I mean, getting caught cheating in the coat closet or wherever it was they were. I really thought this is where this is going because I was like, they are making us like hate him. It's just strange. It's like, why can't we like them all? Because I think this was our complaint, talking again about Maya. This was our complaint before, that we hated her and we hated Beckett. Like we didn't want, like, if you are not meant to be a villain, I don't want to hate you. Like there needs to be clear, concise, like you are someone I'm supposed to dislike versus this like back and forth like we've done, in my opinion. I don't know. It was weird this season. Like we've got to get rid of Theo because I don't know that I can come back from his behavior.
Yeah, I don't really know how they can come back just because with Maya, it's different because she was always
Well, she was beloved before.
She was for a long time. She was on the unlikable side. I don't want to say I hated her. She was on the unlikable side for quite a while. But like with Theo, it's like, we didn't care much about him. We kind of liked him and now we hate him again. So the back and forth, I just feel kind of jerked around where he's concerned, to the point where like I'm not sure if they can really do anything else for him to make me like him again, just because they've just been jerking us around as far as he goes.
Well, I mean, and not to mention, like with Maya, there is deep-seated trauma that caused her to act the way that she did. We all know her backstory. We know her childhood, the things she went through. I'm not sure that I know of, like, I understand that Theo, was the captain when Travis's husband died. Like, I understand there's a little bit of trauma involved there. But when we met Theo, he had overcome that. Like, he was already past. It feels like his flip has came out of nowhere.
I don't understand the turning point. I think that's the main problem here, is that I just don't understand why he's been turned into someone we just can't stand anymore.
Yeah.
It's not like, with One Tree Hill, Dan Scott, he was the villain for a long, long time. We were supposed to not like him. And then he had this big redemption story.
Yes.
And it made sense. I was like, I understand why they're turning this around right now. But like with Theo, it's like I don't understand.
It's like it's like we just need him out of there. Like we just need room for someone else in the firehouse. Like we're just trying to assassinate his character for no reason. It's strange, I think.
And Kate can just ride off into the sunset and just never come back.
I'm cool with it, and I mean, after like the cheating that Jack saw, I mean, I feel like there was no coming back from that. I can't imagine. And I mean, I don't know where that's even going to go, because as soon as Jack sees this, I mean, we didn't even talk about he's, trying to help that poor pregnant lady, because once again, Jack is phenomenal. So he's trying to get her out of there. She's in labor in the midst of this firefighter's ball. And then the tragedy strikes before he could even confront Theo or tell Vic or even say what's going on. So I'm not sure where the storyline's even going to go with that, because now we've got this emergency that we're dealing with.
There was a lot going on in that one emergency. And I'm telling you, I love seeing Andy take charge and her fancy, ball gown.
I know.
And you do that, you go over there, I'm going downstairs, and you need to call 911. I was like, yes, ma'am.
Exactly. I was so stressed leading up to this, though, because we knew from the previews there was going to be like this collapse or some sort of big issue. and so like the whole episode I'm like taking like notes in my head of like, okay, who's with who, where's Jack at, he's out there by the bar, they're in the, like, I'm like trying to keep track of everyone because I just knew that there was gonna be something and we were gonna have to try to like figure out who's been injured and whatever's going on.
So
Yeah, but
it was Kitty of all people who
Kitty.
discovered it first. I was like, of course it was Kitty. I don't know why that makes sense, but it does.
The funniest thing that I saw, the thing that I think is so funny is when Kitty talks to Ben every time. She's like, "Hi, I'm Kitty." He's like, "We've met like 16 times." Like every single time.
Remember, I look like someone you went to school with.
But she just doesn't like remember ever. But
It's only with Ben,
only
so
with Ben.
it's so funny.
It was hilarious. I mean, Ben and Miranda this whole episode kind of had me like just absolutely cracking up, just because like, I mean, they were there strictly to get this award and they're like, then we're gonna go, like, we're done with this, which ended up not working out very well for any of them, of course. But yeah, so Kitty's got the smokes, and that's when this is when I had the vibes. This is when Andy and the new, I wish I knew his name, the new union president are downstairs like kind of checking out, like, because they found the fire in the wall, and so they're down there checking all that out. And this is when I'm getting vibes, like they're just, I don't know, we'll have to ask Amanda if she felt it too. She usually picks up on these little things that I do as well.
Captain Ferris, is that his name?
Ferris, I think
Ferris?
that sounds right, Ferris. Yeah. But yeah, even that, like, and I'm hoping that like when they're down there, because I mean Andy was really kind of putting in the good word for Ross too during that whole thing. I love how she continues to advocate for her. Like, even though Ross was kind of like, I don't need you to fight my battles, I don't need all this. She's still down there like just talking his head off about like why Ross is a good at her job and why she deserves to stay.
I didn't like, and he's made that comment about how she's not even on the list. I was like, why? Well, I mean, I get why,
I mean,
but
yeah. Well, I mean, I hope that changes. I mean, definitely deserves to change now. But so when everybody when everybody fell through the floor, well, I guess before we talk, I think we need to talk about one other thing before we jump straight into the tragedy. How cute was Miranda presenting that award to Ben? It was mostly because she just wanted to be able to get out of there. And she was like not waiting for anybody.
in true Bailey fashion, she just barges on up there.
But she gave such a wonderful speech with it that I was like,
Oh,
I'm glad, because this is who deserved to give him this award. Like, the things she said about him was just really kind. And I really loved how Ben was so humble. And I think all of them tend to be what was he saying? He said, like, save the people you save. He's like, that's our job. We all do that. But he was like, the ones you can't save. And
I think he was talking about how like they people think the hardest part of this job is saving people, but it's the ones we can't save, and then that's where he kind of started popping off.
I was getting all teary-eyed during that speech, and I don't know, that was nice.
With everything Bailey and Ben are put through, like they go through a lot as a couple, like really hard times, but they've been really, really solid for a long time.
Yes. Well, did she said they deserve to be celebrated. And I was like, you know what? You all do deserve to be celebrated. Like, you are probably the only actual solid couple Grace has ever had. I think you're it. I don't think there's any other couple that has ever survived without any hiccups or turmoil or cheating or like splitting up. Like, I think you're it. So, yeah. Well done.
They've been pretty stable for their entire marriage, really.
I mean, I think early on we had a little bit of issues with some stuff, but they've had moments here and there, but like real life, like marital issues that they've worked out. And so, well done.
It's a very real look. I mean, coming from someone who's never been married.
Yeah, it is real, definitely.
From the outside, it looks like, just a portrayal of what a real marriage is. Because it's not all happy endings and unicorns and rainbows.
Right. No, it's good. And I was happy because I was like, okay, good. He's gotten his award. Now y'all get out of here, because I'm still watching this episode thinking tragedy's getting ready to hit. Everything's going to go like to hell right now.
Get out of here.
Don't look back.
Want to take Jack with you because we're worried about him.
I was so worried about yes, I was worried about everybody. I mean, I'm legit in watching it oh wait, no, don't do you all need to stay. Everybody stay as a group. Something if no one go off by yourselves because that's
Buddy
gonna be a problem.
system.
Yes, yes. But when that floor fell, and that was what I was so I mean, Jack, once again, I tried to watch it a couple times just to kind of see what all happened. Everybody managed to get away from it. Because I mean, Jack called it out. That's why Jack saved Travis. I'm like, cool, my favorite saves my other favorite. This is perfect. Y'all are good. Ross, of course, that one had me stressed out because she's buried down there.
And she was tapping out the
that
SLS.
that was cool though. Watching Robert go into this fierce protective, I've got to save her mode was kind of precious, I have to admit. Because it was yeah, you say you don't love her and you don't want to be here. I'm going to go ahead and call BS on that, bud. You obviously do. I mean, he jumped into action so fast.
Yeah, it was. I knew that was going to happen because when he walked away from her, I was like, no, some big emergency is about to happen. I mean, we know that something's going to happen and he's going to change his mind and everything will be good.
Yeah, I just got real stressed because I was like, oh my God, is she going to die?
For a moment, I thought that it was going to be her.
Because isn't it, he was married before Andy, correct? Or am I thinking of a different show?
Yeah, his
wife died, right?
He was married before Andy and his wife died in some tragic car accident.
Yes. Yeah. So I was thinking if we have someone else he loves dies in his arms, that's more than anyone can handle. And I was going to be surely we're not going to do this to him. But I thought for a minute it was going to happen.
I thought for a minute it was going to be her, but they were focusing too much on Ross.
Yeah. True.
For it to have been her, you know what I mean? Usually these we're not really supposed to see it coming, so they don't focus on it much. So the more they focused on her, I was like, okay, she's good.
Yeah. Well, but probably same goes for the poor pregnant lady, Lynette, or what?
Nanette?
Nanette, something that rhymed with my name. That's all I remember. Because I was really concerned about her, but then I was like, is it gonna be her? Is it gonna be Jack? What's gonna happen? I thought I didn't actually expect her to fall through the floor. I thought her and Jack were gonna get trapped somewhere and he was gonna have to deliver the baby or something, because they were gonna be trapped by themselves somehow. This is what I would have liked that.
I would have liked that. I mean, that would have
been better.
Yeah.
That would have been better. But so when she fell through the floor, I mean, that stressed me because I'm like, look, I know I don't know her, but I'm a mama. And so she's got a baby in her belly right now. So I'm super stressed out about it all. Please go rescue the poor girl and save the baby is all that was running through my head. I
was really stressed out, but then at the same time, Maya and Karina had just gotten there. So I was like, Karina's there. Don't worry. Yes. If there's a baby involved, if there's a baby involved and Karina is there, everything will be okay.
Yeah. That's what I was like, call Karina, get her over there. We're going to need her. We're going to need her. And then also, of course, when they go to, because they had to cut into her, they had to do a C-section right there. And of course they were like, who said it? Was it someone said you're gonna cut her open here or something? I'm thinking it's cool because Ben's already done this. He's done this before. It's not a thing. He did this to April, right? This is how Harriet was born.
Yeah. It's this is just how babies are born. This is normal.
Yeah, on Grey's Anatomy, no one has a baby in a hospital with no trouble. This is not how life works.
And if they are in the hospital giving birth, then something else tragic is happening.
A bomb, shooting, something else is happening elsewhere in the hospital.
Husband is in a medical emergency and can't be there. Something always has to go wrong with a Grey's birth.
Exactly. Yeah. It can't be anything just normal. But I think that's where they tricked us, because I think we're so focused on Ross and we're focused on all the other people that I didn't realize that something was going to happen to Dixon.
I didn't realize he'd fallen through, and at first I didn't realize that's who Travis was working on. I was like, wait a minute, that's Dixon.
I'm not gonna lie, I cried for Dick. I did not expect that to happen. I
cried over what he was saying to Travis.
It was just, I don't know, it was really sad. And I mean, just talking about Emmett and talking about, I mean, he was even making little jokes about, hey, of all the guys Emmett brought home, like, you were my favorite. And he said, although he doesn't bring guys home anymore, so I mean, he was kind of still making these jokes but when he like cried and was like, don't let me die, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was not expecting to care about you at all.
As soon as he said, don't let me die, I was like, oh crap. He's the one who's gonna die.
And Kitty, I mean, like, I never really thought about their relationship being anything real or anything of substance, but her reaction to it, I mean, which makes sense. Obviously, you've been married for 30 some years. I mean, you obviously love each other, but
You feel a little bit of something.
we never saw that side of them really. And so, I don't know. It was kind of nice to see them sort of humanized and humbled a little bit, even if it was like in his last moments here, but I didn't expect to be sad about Dixon.
It was a very sad moment. I didn't expect I would be sad about Dick's death, but
yeah, I thought I would be like, meh, oh well, that's a bummer, like, no, but I cried over it. So, and I really thought, I was like, okay, cool, like, we're in the clear.
Nope.
I should never have these thoughts when it comes to Grey's Anatomy, because you're never in the clear. When Jack collapsed, I was like, no, no, what's going on?
Well, remember he a few episodes back when he slipped and hit his head on the way out for a call. Yeah. I'm like 99.9% sure that that's what this is, or at least that's a contributing factor to him collapsing, because did they discover at that point that he did have a concussion?
I think so. But the problem with all of this is, which we're going to get to that here in a second, Amelia Shepherd is in Boston. We need her in Seattle because he's probably got a brain bleed of some sort.
And you know what made me really mad is that we end the episode, Jack collapses. I'm like, oh, thank goodness, we still have Grey's Anatomy, surely they'll bring him back on there. But if you watch Grey's Anatomy and you're listening to this, which you probably do, we didn't see him again. And I was really, really mad about that.
I was hoping we were going to see him again. I was also nervous because that's when I messaged you. I'm like, I just don't want the DeLuca treatment to where, like, on Grey's Anatomy, then he dies. Yeah, nothing. But it just hit me right now that Amelia is in Boston. We need Amelia Shepherd on a plane immediately back to, like, Grace Sloan. Like, let's do this.
What we need is just 2 Amelias.
I know, because we have no other neurosurgeons that, I mean, obviously they do. I mean, there's other neurosurgeons in the hospital, but we don't know any.
There aren't any other neurosurgeons that we as viewers trust with our favorite characters.
Nope. I need Amelia.
We can't just have Jack operated on by some Joe Schmo from, neuro. It has to
Amelia
be
Amelia or Tom. He's also in Boston, though. We're gonna need someone that's good back immediately.
I mean, Tom is real full of himself, but I trust him to do his job. He's good.
Yeah, no, he can be trusted. We're fine with that. But I don't know. I mean, so I'm hoping that is resolved very quickly next season. My guess is that will be the focus of the whole first episode, and it will be touch and go. I think Jack survives because I think he is the fan favorite for most people. I mean, or at least one of them. He's been through an awful lot for us to lose him now like this, but I don't know.
Yeah, I really hope they if they don't pick up where they left off, at least at a point where, he's okay or he's on some kind of road to recovery.
Yeah, I need him fully out of the hospital because I trust nothing as long as he's still in that hospital bed. So, like, I need him back at work to know that he's good. I've been traumatized by these shows.
What else do you want for next season while we're
well, I think the poor pregnant mama, I don't think she's gonna make it. So I saw on another page people speculating that Karina and Maya might adopt the baby, since they, we're talking about babies this episode. But I'm not sure because I was under the impression that they didn't want to adopt. Not that they wouldn't adopt, but that Karina wanted to carry a child. Like this was the whole like why we were going through all the IVF and all of that stuff.
I don't know. Maybe they'll change. Maybe they'll change their mind. Maybe they'll
Let me
decide this is the right
maybe.
moment.
Or I'm going to throw out a random idea that I would love for it to happen. Why can't Jack decide he wants a family and him adopt a baby? We have seen it so many times on these shows where the woman takes in the child that's lost their parents or whatever. We're seeing it with Brett right now on Chicago Fire. We've seen it with Kim on Chicago PD. We saw it with Gabby on Chicago Fire, Joe on Grey's Anatomy. Like we see it all the time, these women taking on these things. Wouldn't it be cool to like see it differently? And I mean, Jack being a foster kid himself, the same reasons that Joe ended up taking in Luna. He's just reconnected. I don't know. There was a connection there that I was like, that would be a cool storyline. Granted, he's going to need to not have a brain bleed and like die on us for this to happen. But
I mean,
that would be a fun story.
It would. I mean, he's obviously very unlucky in love, and he's not great with. He's not a big people person, but he's great with kids.
And that's what
the only reason he stuck it out with Inara for so long is because he loved her kids so much.
Yeah.
So,
and I think the thing is, like, too, with Jack, I understand that, some people would probably say he needs to focus on himself. He needs to get himself better. And not to say that a baby like fixes people, because most of the time it doesn't. But I honestly think something for him to fulfill him to have in his life that he cares for, I think really could help him in getting his life back on track. Because I think he's basically there. He just needs, I don't know. I think it would be a really fun storyline. So that's what I'm putting out there.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Just be a change of the way we usually see things happen.
Yeah, it'd be it'd be something different that we haven't really seen too much of.
I think Theo can go ahead and just find somewhere else to work. He can take Kate with him.
I don't even care if he finds somewhere else to work. He can just disappear forever.
I don't even need you to tell me where he's went. Just usually I hate that, but he can just go.
After Dick's death, I don't want Theo to die, because then I'm gonna cry and feel bad for him, and I don't want to feel bad for him. So
and that would hurt Vic, even though they've broken up. So we don't want anything that's gonna hurt Vic. So
he and Kate can just go away forever. Ross and Sullivan need to work their stuff out.
Yes.
Because I need them together and I need them to be good. Mm-hmm. And I don't really know what's coming next as far as her position, like being able to stay on as chief, because I don't know, it seems pretty dicey there with her not being on. Odell, is that his name? The mayor? I keep forgetting his name.
Yes, or something like that. Yeah.
Well, anyway, it doesn't look like she's even on his radar.
Yeah.
As far as, fire chief goes. And I'm sure when, a new mayor comes in, he wants to mix things up and do things his way. So I'm hoping we don't see her replaced.
I think we will, though, unfortunately, at least for a time being. And maybe the next person will be our new villain. They'll be terrible and we'll get her back. But I don't know. I think maybe that is going to happen, that she's going to get replaced. But we'll still see her in the picture, because I do think her and Ross are getting back together. I think they're going to be on the right track after this. Other love lives, I'm not really sure. Like Beckett and Vic, I'm kind of here for it. Let's figure out how to make that happen.
I want Beckett to be back and better than ever next season.
Yeah, and he could work in a different firehouse, maybe, because maybe them not working at the same house, I feel like that would get tricky. Plus, I don't know if we have room for him, so maybe we put him somewhere else.
Well, if Theo goes away forever, then we'll have room for him.
But not as a captain, because Andy's our captain.
Well, I don't know if we want Beckett to be captain of anything, though. He doesn't have to be captain.
What? He can be captain of anyone except for our people. Like, because then I won't stress. Like, he's fine. He just can't be captain of the people that I care about. We'll see. It will likely be, I think they're saying, probably January, because of the writer's strike, which...
just give the writers whatever they're asking for so we can get our shows back, please.
Look, absolutely. And Plus,
They deserved
my
it. They're
guess
the
is
ones that keep the show running.
they are why we are doing this podcast. They are why people watch the show. They just deserve it. Let's just make it happen, people, you know? But moving on to happier things, Grey's Anatomy. Well, happy and sad things, but one thing that was happy was the way this wedding day for Simone and Trey turned out, because I was getting pretty stressed about that.
I wasn't stressed though when they found the dead bird and all of a sudden these bad things started happening. I was like, oh yay, the wedding's not gonna happen now. Definitely.
When the bird, like, she was telling the whole story about the robin, and I was like, okay, and then the bird hit the window and she's like, what kind of bird? She's like, is it okay? And Jules is like, I'm not sure. I don't even know what she said. It's like she didn't tell her for
Like,
sure.
not exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
That
what
bird's
kind of
dead.
bird is it? Doesn't matter. I don't know.
I don't know.
She 100% knew. I was like, yeah, we know what kind of bird that is. We all know.
Yeah, it was definitely. It did break my heart though, like, even when the show first starts and like she wakes up and Lucas isn't there because he's went on to work, and she storms up there to like tell him like that he's left and all this stuff, and this little sadness on his face. I'm like, girl, you cannot make this boy so sad. It was tragic.
And then I don't know why they keep doing this to us every week, but then when she said that she has to be there, like he has to be there for Toby because she's getting her double mastectomy, he's like, I'd do anything for you. I'm like, why do they keep doing this to us?
I know. I'm like,
Every week.
come on.
It's like, how much, like, what does this boy need to do to get the girl?
At this point, and I get it. I mean, I think that's what it was. I mean, I think Simone thought she was just doing what was right by her mom and by everything else. And in this case, thank goodness for grandma's Alzheimer's, because when she let it slip that like mom was engaged to someone else before dad, and obviously grandma encouraged her to follow her heart, this was sort of like the out that Simone needed to know that it would be okay to not go through with this.
I love though that she was having that conversation with her dad as they're walking down the aisle. I'm like, I'm glad you're having this conversation because we all know this wedding was not going to happen.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, girl, could you have picked like, I don't know, a better time, a better place?
Yeah. Because I mean, Trey's not a bad guy. He's done nothing wrong. So him just watching her at the end of the aisle there, like,
The poor
not
guy
gonna
was
come
so
marry him.
confused. He's like, what? Like, huh? What?
I mean, this was worse than Matthew and April's wedding. I mean, at least he like knew there was, well, I mean, history between, her and Jackson and all of that. But I mean, like, this was like, and I liked the twist because I was like, as much as I wanted a Japril like resurrection here of what happened with them, I was also like, okay, we can't do it exactly
I
like
did
them because that's played out.
I really wanted that at first. Like, I was really disappointed at first that that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But now that I'm thinking about it, I really enjoyed this twist.
Yeah. Well, it made sense because the thing was, it's not like Lucas hadn't, these things that Lucas felt for her, he had already expressed this. So she already knew. So that was already different in that Jackson had not been the one to tell April like his feelings back then. So it was a big deal. I mean, Lucas already had. So it would have been no surprise.
There was really no point in him disrupting the wedding to proclaim his love for her because he's already done that multiple times.
Yes. And when he like, I love that. What was her name? Toby, the patient that he was there to look after. I mean, she's getting all the tea like from this, like, just one day. That would be me. I feel like, come on, tell me all about it. You're in love with
I'm
her.
about to get major surgery. Distract me. Tell me all the gossip.
Exactly. And when Simone came in that wedding dress, the look on, oh my gosh. I mean, that was a moment that I was like so happy for. And I was like, why do I care so much about this relationship? And we've had only a season of them, but I was like invested. Like they took it to the on-call room, I mean, you would have thought like, I was excited. I was like, yay, I'm so happy for you guys.
I may or may not have watched that 3 or 4 times already.
Yes, it was just so like, it felt like such a long time coming, even though it wasn't. It's only been like 19 episodes.
It's felt like a really long 19 episodes, though.
It has. And so, well done. I mean, when even, I don't know. I loved it. I loved it.
But you know what I didn't like is when Trey, I don't know what's with this guy. He gets into a car crash trying to get to the hospital to talk to Simone, which I get it. He wants closure, he wants answers.
Yeah.
But even after he finds out that, Lucas is pretty much the reason why she left, and, he gives him a good old punch in the face, which I didn't appreciate because I love Lucas, but we know it was coming.
Yeah. I mean, we love Lucas, but at the same time,
And then
Trey's allowed a punch.
And then he and Simone have, that heart to heart, and he's still like, we can work this out. Let's do it. I'm like, dude,
let it go.
Why do you still want to marry someone who isn't into that? Like, he's a decent guy. He seems like a very decent guy.
Yeah. But
or somebody else. Or someone else.
Trying to tell him, like, this isn't about a guy. Isn't it, though? I mean, I know you're saying there's other things, but, like, you went, like, straight to the hospital and had sex with him. Like, I mean
yes,
it's kind of about a guy.
I think it's about more than just the guy, but I do think the guy was the main reason. Like, would she have learned all of this and stopped and been like, oh, I actually don't want this, just because of the fact that she has changed? Like, would she have run out on him?
Yeah.
If Lucas had never been in the picture?
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, you can admit, like, I've changed, I want different things now. But the main thing that's stopping me from marrying you is that the different thing that I want is a different guy. Like, I mean, like, let's be honest with Trey. I feel like he deserves the complete and total truth at this point. Like, it is kind of about another guy.
And I think the fact that he was like, we can work this out, I was kind of like, I don't think she's being clear enough that she wants this other guy. Like,
yeah. No, the one thing that, I mean, I'm not glad we at least made it to the altar was because we got some scenes with Helm and Minka that I've been
I was in love with them this week. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Cutest date ever. Couple. And they drove the getaway van.
I know. Of course they did. I love it. What is it? Helm said, and I loved how Helm like just wanted to jump right back in too when they got to like which I think, was it Trey that was being brought in? Whatever case it was that she was at, and they were like, Helm, we need you. She was like, okay, I'll go put on my stuff. I mean, she was just like ready.
I don't remember if it was Trey, but it's like as soon as she got there, it's like, well, there's a lot of stuff going on because they don't have any doctors to replace the ones who went to Boston. So they were short staffed. But she seemed real excited about diving back in. So yeah, we have the old Helm back.
We did. And we
but poor Blue, he didn't even make it to the wedding.
Look, I felt really sorry for him this whole episode, actually. This episode was a strong one for him, for me anyways. Like, he like jumped up, like, because I mean, he's been like kind of just this, do I like him, do I don't like him, like, don't really care. But I really started to feel kind of endeared to him this episode more than I had in the past.
Yeah, I feel like at the very beginning he was telling, the story he told at the beginning of the season, just for the sake of like that completely false story, just to get them to sign off on an operation. I don't remember the exact story or what was going on. But now I feel like he's being a lot more genuine, and I absolutely loved him with this case with the with that little boy and the mom, because he knew from the get-go, like, this is not what's going on.
And I tell you what, we've been like, I've been thinking to myself, because I always love like the pediatric doctors, those are always my favorite, Alex, Arizona, and now I'm like, maybe this is where Blue is going to be heading at some point, because this was a different side of him when it came to this kid this week. I loved it. And I mean, like you said, he was the only one that was even trying to fight for them. Like, even Owen was just sort of blowing it off, which felt a little un-Owen like. I mean, anyways.
I did love how Maxine jumped in and basically said like her story about that friend that girl she knew who was in a bad situation. No one said anything, and that keeps her up at night.
Yeah.
And she's like, if this, if it's a hill worth dying on, then go for it.
Well, because I mean, too, like, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like with Owen, it upset me that, I mean, it was clear this woman was being questioned without like an interpreter present.
That can't be legal at all.
No, because I mean, who knows what she was saying, what she was agreeing to, what she was like admitting to them without fully understanding.
Even if she has a rudimentary understanding of English, I mean, legalese is a whole different, like legal jargon is a whole different ball game. Like that's not real English.
I speak English and only English, and I'm telling you, sometimes I don't understand what you're saying when it comes to like legal language. Like that's
like I need a lawyer to like English translator, please.
Exactly.
And they're trying to interview this woman who doesn't speak English. And this woman, I think she dove into this trusting that they just wanted information from her and they're going to do the right thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they are not interested in helping you.
I'm telling you, Seattle Police Department kind of stinks. I mean, like on our other shows, we got good police also, but Seattle Police Department's kind of terrible.
You want to know what ran through my head at first before I figured out what show I'm watching?
What?
I was sitting there thinking, and what's wrong with the intelligence team? Why can't they just come down and take care of this? Then like, oh, this is not Chicago. Never mind.
Let me tell you what I thought. And this, not till today, so I was just thinking this. So there was an article, which I didn't send to you all. We're just a little quick article where I guess someone questioned, like talked to Gray Damon, that plays Jack on Station 19, and was asking like his thoughts on like 911 moving to ABC. And he was like, man, I'd love to have a crossover. Like maybe like Buck and Jack can be the best of friends, which I was like, that sounds awesome. But so in this case, I'm like, get Athena over here, because Athena would make sure that this poor little boy and his mama were taken care of. Okay.
Oh no, Athena would not have stood for that. She would have been like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And I know that it's LA versus Seattle, but you're on the same coast. Okay. So I feel like this is doable. This is doable.
You're just, a fun road trip away.
I mean, they used to do, was it private practice in LA? We used to do crossovers there.
Why not?
I think this works. This works. But anyways, yeah, no, I mean, that crossed my mind that this is the one of what we watch, the medical dramas, things like that, where we don't have a police force. I mean, we had Ryan way back when Station 19 first started, but that's it. Otherwise, we don't have a police force where we have anyone on the team that we like and we trust, and the police are sort of painted as bad guys in this universe.
Yeah, this is the only of our first responder dramas in which they really highlight that, back and forth between, the fire department, the police department, to the point where we don't even have one single person on the police force that we like. Like on 911, we have O'Brien.
Yes.
At least. And he's the only one, but at least we have him.
Well, he's not the only one, because we got
oh yeah, that other
Carlos. You're forgetting Carlos.
Oh yeah.
Although he might be a ranger by next season. Who knows?
But I really don't like that we don't have anyone on the police force that we like in the Grey's 19 universe.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, I mean, all police are not bad. Okay, I understand there's some bad eggs out there. Like, of course, there's bad eggs everywhere you go. But all in all, like, there's going to be good ones. Like, so, and this was just another like situation where it was highlighted that they didn't have our best interest at heart. So, I don't know. I mean, thankfully that Blue figures it out, and that makes me terrified too. I'm like, oh my God, if I ever go stay in any kind of vacation home, like, let's check all the drawers to make sure there's not like fentanyl candy like hidden that my kid's going to get into.
Okay, so I don't get how police business works. Let's just make that clear right now. All my knowledge comes from Chicago PD.
Hank Voigt.
But why was it up to Blue? Why did it become up to Blue? I know that he took this on himself because he wanted to, because he felt so strongly about this.
Yeah.
But why was it on Blue to do all of this investigating and then get them to be like, oh yeah, okay, maybe we should go check that rental? And like, why didn't it occur to them to ask? Why didn't it occur to them to ask the mom, hey, did he have Like,
It was,
did you give him any medicine, any candy?
yeah.
Did you leave him alone? Like, why wasn't that part of the investigation?
I mean, it was clear racial profiling is what it was. I mean, we just assumed that because she was non-English speaking single mom, that she just wasn't taking good care of her kid, which is sad.
That
Like,
is complete BS.
yeah. So I don't know. I mean, this was definitely something that made me
And I love how we
like
got to the end of this whole thing and Owen was like, you fought the good fight. I'm like, yeah,
thanks a
Owen,
lot, Owen. You know,
for
appreciate
nothing.
that.
Thanks for all your help in this matter.
Right, thanks for nothing. That made me just really love. I mean, because that was sort of like the interaction with children. Like I say, that's what way back in the day kind of got me to love Alex Karev. So if this is the route that we're going to take with Blue, to where we can find some sort of, I don't know, although we don't have a pediatric surgeon right now either. Like, we're lacking in some of our attending surgeons. Like, we need to like build that roster so that we can see them doing all the departments, I think. But the other thing though, Blue this week, him and Max are just the cutest. Like, I,
Love that
I look,
woman so much.
I do too. I do too. And the thing is, I know that when she told him, I can see why Jules is falling for you. I was like, oh, this is so sweet. You can tell she's been Team Blue for a while. She's been sort of trying to push that narrative out there anyways, to make sure that they can fall in love. And I'm here for it as well.
Oh yeah, I am completely like on that wagon.
We got Lucas and Simone figured out. It's time for Blue and Jules now.
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
I was really, really worried about Max at the very beginning when she was wandering the hall. And obviously Blue was too. And he's like, can you
Yes.
tell me what day it was? And
Girl.
luckily the poor woman was just confused about the North Wing versus the South Wing.
Yeah.
But I love how she just followed that little boy to his room to keep him company. And she was like, good, you can tell me some stories. I'm like, this is just the cutest thing I've ever seen on this
I just
show.
knew. I was like, this woman's gonna die now here before like the episode's over, because
I
loving
was
her so
I was
much.
afraid she was going to collapse like right there in the room and this kid would be like, help. Like, luckily it didn't happen that way, but
No, I mean, it happened when she's back to her room, and then Blue. But the thing is, like, I'm like, what happens now? So, like, she obviously he intubated her without her, like, even though she's got the DNR, which I'm like, okay, that's wrong. But at the same time, like, she was right in the middle of telling him about how much Jules loves him. Like, I can understand his like need, and she was good. She was talking like, I can understand the urge, especially probably as a new doctor who's not experienced a lot of loss and experienced a lot of things. Like, I can understand that urge to be like, no, 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 like, she needs to be okay, because like she was literally just fine. It's different than like when you come in and you've already got like a traumatic injury and we're not able to bring you back. Like, this was very different than that.
and this happened years ago with Izzy. She had a DNR
Yep.
and Alex just insisted that they throw that out the window. So I was a little disappointed because I was like, well, I was really mad at him at first because I was like, he's like, I love that he's saving her, but he's gonna get himself in trouble. And I don't
Well,
want him in trouble because I like him now.
yeah. And I mean, Jules was mad at him over it, which stinks. But at the same time, like, I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, Jules, if you'd been standing there, I feel like you would have done the same thing. But
I
I guess
think
then that would have been her choice to do it. So, I mean,
I think she was just mad that she was being put in
yeah.
that she was being put in a position rather than,
Yeah.
deciding, this is what I'm going to do. She was kind of forced
Yeah.
to make a
I
decision
mean,
she didn't want to, but
yeah, I get that. I get that.
it
I do.
looks like it looks like she's gonna be okay though.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
I loved what she said, because she said, you've saved my favorite person, and now I have. She was saying, I hated you for this, like, whatever. Then she said, I love you saved my favorite person. Now I have to love you too. I was like, she
Yes, that
loves
that that
him.
that is how it works.
Yeah, but I like it a lot. So I'm like ready for that relationship going forward for sure.
Yes, let's do more with that next season, please.
Yes, 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 yes. But I mean, and that, I feel like none of this. I don't know. if everybody hadn't been in Boston, maybe there would have been more attendings there to help him out.
Okay, so can we talk about Winston at first for a second? So he's being made chief of cardio.
Yes.
And then
Winston.
he's, Teddy has her toothache, which we're going to talk about a little later. But she has her toothache, and he's saying, like, you have a whole department to run, and now you're covering for me. I'm sitting there thinking, are there 0 people in that hospital who can take over his cases while he's in Boston? Like, are they really that short-staffed?
I think they are. And I think we need to yeah, I mean, that's trouble. I caught that too. And I didn't really think that was I don't know. I was surprised for sure. Yeah, we're gonna come back to Toothy or her toothache because I got things to say. I got things to say on that one. Stressed.
I think the thing that I wanted to talk most about was that flight. It was both painfully awkward and painfully terrifying at the same time. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was scared and I was also laughing.
I kind of like that they made it kind of humorous because for Grace fans, we were feeling the same stress as Miranda was when she got on there because we all have a bad we don't feel good about planes in the Grace world. Okay, it's a very tragic event that I just don't like to talk about. Okay, so I was feeling it too. So just the idea that we were making it laugh when the turbulence happened, even though it was scary, we had Catherine who was high, just kind of being so overly dramatic about it that it was, I knew obviously it was going to be okay because otherwise we wouldn't be throwing that humor in there as well.
Then we have poor Nick stuck between Winston and Amelia, and he's willing to give his salary to anyone who switches with him. And then Miranda's saying they're like, nope, not worth it.
The thing is, though, you're talking to a bunch of people that make a crap ton of money. So if you ask me, I will sit there all day long for your whole salary.
Oh yeah,
I'll engage with them.
I'll be peacekeeper. Yeah, I'll play mediator between the two of them for your salary. Sign me up.
No, put me in the plane just alone with them. I'm cool with this. Give me your salary. But of course, you're talking to a bunch of surgeons. They don't need your money, Nick. You're probably one of the least paid ones there, if we're being honest. Maybe you make more than Winston, but that's probably about it.
They get to Boston safe and sound.
Yes.
Goodness.
And what did you think when Nick went to Meredith's house and that gorgeous man opened the door?
Well, at first I screamed, "Oh, it's Angelo," because I recognize that voice from anywhere. Switched at Birth, if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about.
No, he's from something else, though. I don't watch Switched at Birth. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, Switched at Birth is what I know him from. As soon as I heard his voice, I was like, oh, it's Angelo.
Look it up. Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what he's from. He's from Sex and the City, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, that's definitely what you know.
He was also in Teen Wolf, but just a small little part in Teen Wolf. But Sex and the City is what I know him.
When he opened the door, I was like, Meredith, you did not go and find yourself a new guy after pretending that you did not hear Nick when he said he loved you.
I was mad, but I was also like, oh. But I kind of knew. I was like, it's not what you think, Nick. That's what I was talking to the screen and trying to tell him.
I figured it had to be not what he was thinking, especially when Meredith was saying, yeah, he's just so great. I was like, she would not be doing that in front of him. Like, this is.
I thought he was going to be like a nanny or something, you know.
And it just turns out to be Zola's gay tutor, so everything's fine.
All good, right? No, that was funny. He was very good looking though, so I was like, talking about getting back together. So how'd you feel about Waggy? In there? First of all, I will say Maggie looked phenomenal. I was with Winston when he walked in that room. I was like, goodness, that haircut looks so good on Kelly. I loved it.
She looked so good. Yeah. But I think that's just because I love Kelly so much.
Yeah.
But back to the whole Waggy thing. I don't care.
I don't care either. I'm okay with
for anyone who was listening to this podcast hoping that we would have thoughts. We don't. We just really don't.
I'm not upset. Great.
If they didn't get together, okay. They got together, okay. I really genuinely do not care either way.
Want them together on my screen because I think you guys are toxic and kind of drive me nuts. But if you want to be kind of together and just talk and we're just whatever, yeah. I don't need you to stay together or do anything. I need you just
They can be
Cool.
friends and colleagues. I'll be totally on board with that, but they don't need to be together. They just are it's just a toxic combination.
Yeah, I'm okay with her staying in Chicago. Like, I'm okay if he wanted to go to Chicago with her. Although now he's new, chief of cardio, so he's not. But I don't know. I don't care either way. So there's that.
It's just that it happened. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. Moving on. Right.
I think not my favorite, but one of my favorite parts of this Boston storyline was seeing Meredith again. And first of all, the first time we see her, she is frazzled.
Like,
and
I was a little worried.
I was really, really worried about her. But then when I found out it's because she hasn't slept in probably days, I was like, okay, so medically she's okay. She just needs a nap.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, I will admit this too, and I might make listeners upset. Okay. I love Meredith. I'm glad she's doing well. Seeing her again in this episode, while I was like, I'm glad she's doing well, I felt like I did feel finally like I don't need her back on the show. Like her storyline feels complete.
Yeah, because no,
I wouldn't mind to hear about her Alzheimer's research and what she's doing, like kind of in passing with discussions and stuff, but like I don't need to see it play out.
Like I'm not completely done with her. Like I don't want her gone and riding off into the sunset, but I haven't really missed her since she's been gone, and I can totally live with her just popping in every once in a while. I'll be happy to see her whenever she pops.
As long as, yeah, I mean, like with this, especially with her and Nick kind of working things out, reuniting. And we know that she's doing well. She's gonna probably do amazing things with this research, and like I'm okay with like not seeing that and just knowing Meredith's doing well. Everyone's doing well. Storyline's over. Like fine. Yeah, I don't know. For me, it just didn't bother me to like.
I was very upset that Mr. Blue Eyes is over in London. We didn't get to see his lovely face, but
True.
Oh well. So another big thing Mary mentioned is that she's essentially blowing up the research of hundreds, possibly, of neuroscientists and surgeons before her, and one of those people is Derek, and that really was not sitting very well with Amelia. And I think what her internal struggle is here is that she loves her brother and she's sad to see, his, work being torn apart like this. And also, as a fellow neurosurgeon, I mean, she has to put up with that. But also she loves Meredith and she's so glad to see that she's doing well and she wants to support her.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, though, and I think Amelia will realize this, like, I think yes, as a neurosurgeon, this is a lot to take in and, kind of destroying Derek's work and his legacy essentially with that. Still, coming like a new development with Alzheimer's as a neurosurgeon should be something that you look forward to and that you are like here for. And I would think that Derek would be in complete support of what Meredith is doing as well, because you should want these answers.
And at the same time, I mean, things change. In every single profession that exists, times change and there be better ways to do things come into play that you can't really ignore. It doesn't mean that the past research is terrible and doesn't mean anything. It was great for its time, but there's more information out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think but I know that she's struggling with it. And I know, and not just that, I think she's just been struggling with a lot in general. And
she's been struggling with her sobriety a lot. And I think this was just a really hard pill to swallow, but I think she'll be okay especially because she was the one who went to Richard and said, I need a meeting. Do you want to come with me? And then she was even pushing him. She was like, I'm going to go find a meeting and I'm going to text you.
And I hope he listens to her because I'm really nervous about him.
Because I did catch that moment on the plane when he took Catherine's drink, and luckily, like, it was a funny moment because then Bailey was like, I don't think so. She just knocks it out
Yes.
of his hand. That was kind of funny. But then
I'm
he's
just
got his usual drink at the
yeah.
bar, and I'm sitting there thinking, put it down, walk away, go to the
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, because I mean, don't feel bad about what was happening on the plane. I mean, honestly, you thought you were gonna die. I'm not even gonna fault you for wanting to have a drink real quick. Like, I don't think that makes you I don't think you need to stress about that so much. Just stay on track now. You know what I mean? Like, just now do what you got to do to not be thinking about it. Like, I feel like he's probably beating himself up too much over like taking that drink and wanting that drink. And I don't know. But yeah,
He
I hope
always
he,
he always does though. Every time he slipped up, and he slipped up multiple times on the
yeah,
show.
yeah,
I feel like every time he slips up, he's always more focused on, guilting himself over wanting that drink or having that drink,
yeah,
depending on if he actually does go that far.
yeah.
But he's never really quite focused on what got him to the point
Right.
where he needs to drink, which, from my understanding, is the most important part.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think I don't know. I hope he doesn't drink it. I hope somebody else finds him, walks up, and takes care of it. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know that Bailey's going to be able to save him this time because Bailey's off celebrating and loving her life at the moment, I think.
How much did you love that presentation? And I love that
I
Meredith was the one who gave it to her.
Mhm. And I didn't see this coming. Like, I mean,
No.
it wasn't on my radar, like just like it wasn't on her radar. The fact that everyone else knew, though, or I think, well, I don't know if everyone knew because it looked like Maggie and Winston didn't know. I don't think
They didn't seem
because
surprised after the fact they didn't seem surprised. I don't
yeah,
know. It
because I feel
definitely
like
it definitely seems like everybody else definitely knew about
because
this.
Maggie seemed surprised, like in that she was just, like, I don't know, there was something she said, I can't remember exactly, but like Nick, the look on his face was just all smiles, like he knew that he wasn't actually there to get it when they started talking. And obviously Ben knew, which they probably did have to fill Ben in just so they knew how important it was to get
Because he had to,
landed there.
otherwise he easily could have been like, well, she's just presenting. I don't really need to go. So like they needed to
Right.
give him a reason to be there.
Mhm. Which also only because I know you and I discussed like why would he leave after all else going on with everybody, all his coworkers. But I mean that makes sense that because he assumed they were all good, he I think left before Jack passed out. Um, that he went ahead and came out there because he knew how important it was for Bailey. But it was beautiful. I think I got all a little teary eyed at just because
But
she deserved it.
at first, when Meredith got up there and started going on about all the bands and everything like that, I was like, is she getting on a soapbox and is she going to embarrass herself? Like that was pretty much where my mind was
Yeah,
going. And then after like a few seconds, I was like, oh no, I see what's happening here. Never mind.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
good.
It was, I mean, just watching the light bulb for Bailey when she was like, wait, those are the guys from my clinic. I trained them. Like, it was a nice moment.
And she's sitting there like, how come she gets to go up there? I drove all this way just to present an award. I was like, honey, you are not presenting an award.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was nice. I mean, it was nice to have that to sort of contrast like the rest of the tragedy that happened at the hospital and the cliffhangers we were kind of left with because wasn't real excited with the way some of this played out.
There was one part I was very excited about. Everything
Yes.
else, I was like, this is no bueno.
Yes. I spent most of the episodes a little angry with Joe. Because I'm pretty sure that's where you're going with this, and just how blind she was being to Link and his issues with like
I have been so confused these last few weeks because Joe is not a stupid person,
no.
but she was being really stupid. So I was like, does she really not notice what's going on? Does she not want to know what's going on because she
Maybe,
doesn't
yeah.
feel the same way? Either way, she's like, I was like, either way, I don't love her for
Yeah.
whatever she's feeling right now. I don't love her for it, whatever she's going through. But
No.
luckily she was just stupid. So
Yeah. Because I mean, I get it. Sam is very attractive and charming, and I understand him flirting with you probably felt really great. But Link is also very attractive, very charming, and this man is like helping you raise your daughter, learning sign language for her. I mean, like, just take notice, hun. Like, he's like kind of the full package at the moment. And
So
his speech was like, it was your perfect Grey's Anatomy speech. It really was. I know it's not Shonda Rhimes, but like Shonda Land and all of that, they know how to write men and their declarations of love. They know how to do it because it was good.
and I was here for it.
Yes, I
And I was
loved
like,
it.
this better end the way I'm envisioning it ends, and it did.
It did. The kiss was just long time coming. So happily ever after, please. Like, you can't, these couples, when you make us wait forever to get them, let's just, that's in game now.
So
Okay,
if
we're
Sam
done.
ever comes out of this surgery,
I'm not sure that he's going to. I think
I'm not
Sam's
sure
out of
he's
the
going
picture.
to. If he comes out of it, then he's gonna need to start romancing somebody else.
Here's the thing. I don't actually know what happened to Sam. Did I miss I understand there was something like they had to take him back in emergency surgery. Was he didn't have a pulse and like somewhere like
I
I don't
well,
I'm so confused.
Lucas was checking on him,
Yeah.
and I don't know, something happened. I don't remember what exactly it was, but something happened to the point where it seemed really serious. Like it was Teddy plus 3 interns, Lucas, Simone, and Mika were all in there with her,
Yep.
and she was going over, it's like, we need to do this and this and this, and you need to have this ready, and we need to be quick about it.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what did I miss? Because it seems like too big a thing for
Yeah.
them to not have really said much about. It
Yeah.
seems real bad though.
It
And
was
it is
bad.
bad because, you know, Teddy eventually passes out from her toothache, which it's way more than a toothache at this point. And
This
we have three
stressed me
interns,
out.
and we have 3 interns left, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh gosh, not the Elvet situation again.
This toothache thing. Okay, we got to talk about this for just a minute. Okay, so listeners, you all don't know this, okay, but I had an incident a couple months ago. Had to have an extraction done, got infected, had an abscess. I mean, my face was ridiculous. I think Eve probably saw me at some point, and maybe I sent pictures. I don't know, or I just complained about it a lot. It was so bad that when I went to see my an oral surgeon, well, I mean, I saw other people send me to an oral surgeon. He like made me go to the ER immediately to get a CT with contrast, all this stuff. Had to have oral surgery to drain it. Like, so like I understand that that could have been really bad. And so watching this whole episode, Teddy talking about her toothache, I'm thinking, oh no, she's gonna have an infection. It's gonna make it to her bloodstream. She's gonna die. Like I'm freaking out because this has like happened fairly recently to me that I was like put under this pressure of like, Jeanette, this is serious. You need to go immediately to the ER and get this taken care of, kind of serious. I'm like, why do you all have to scare me? Like I am traumatized by this like tooth thing that happened to me. It was like a months and months and months of like terribleness. And I think that's what the whole time I'm like, this is not a toothache. Like she needs to get this checked out. I'm actually really afraid this is going to be really bad for Teddy. Are we losing Teddy? Like I'm really worried.
I will. Hunt didn't seem too worried at first because I went to get him. He's like, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. I'm like, no, you need to go there yesterday.
Yeah. So I mean, I know we're already like super like short staffed with half of our attendings in Boston, and then Owen's not responding. Well, I'm excited that Joe and Link are together. They're making out outside in the rain. It's probably time to check your pages and get back inside and help because the poor interns. I mean, this is like tragedy striking. And Minka's got Teddy on the floor who has no pulse, right? I mean, this is like a big deal. The other guy's bleeding out. I mean, they were telling Lucas, like, no, you've got to wait for like an attending. He's like, they're not coming.
They're
So
not
I
coming.
hope that they don't
And
get in any kind of
obviously,
trouble because they really don't have a choice at this point. Their attending is on the floor.
and it seems like a situation where they can't wait. Like if they wait, he's gone. That's
Yes.
the impression I got.
Yeah. I mean, this was like I didn't see this coming because I thought, okay, you know, Station 19 has been our like seriousness, and now we've had all kinds of happy stuff and Grace, we're good. Until I'm like, but I'm actually really nervous. Like I think probably Sam's gonna die, because that also opens up, there's going to be an issue for, does Lucas get in trouble for going on with the procedure without an attending in there? I think that adds drama. My question is too, do we lose Teddy? I mean, I hate to say it, but we have not lost anyone major. I mean, I know we've had people leave, and so maybe the fact that Meredith and Maggie have left this season, that saves Teddy, because I don't know, but what made her pass out? I really think it's infection made it to her bloodstream, which can kill you pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm really nervous about Teddy. I'm hoping they're not taking her away. I know that there's going to be big issues with her when we come back, some touch and go.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that she eventually just comes out of it and she will be okay.
Yeah. I hope so. I mean,
that's not my prediction. Those are just my hopes, because I don't want to lose Teddy. Now that I love her.
Yeah, no, I don't want to lose her either. And maybe she's going to be okay. I think Sam's a goner.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think Sam needs to be gone, because then it creates, drama for the beginning of next season with, them losing a patient.
Yeah.
Especially with, when Mika looked at them and said, "Are you sure there's no coming back from this?" I was like, that is like old school dramatic raise quotes.
Yeah. And I mean, in this case, I think, it's different than the Elvad wire. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, it is, because in that case, they didn't have, I mean, that was clear, like you've broken rules. They're doing what they have to do to save someone. I don't know. It's going to be, they better be okay though. Cause I'm like, my Lucas, he didn't have like any choice here. Okay. I don't know.
He's just doing what he can.
Yeah.
He got the girl. Let him do the surgery.
No. So what do you think? Do you have any other predictions next season, or just hopes? I mean, we've said we hope Teddy survives. We don't really have a prediction there.
We didn't talk too much about this, but Simone was a little annoyed with Lucas earlier on about how, he was saying, it wasn't your fault, everything's gonna be okay. And she was like, stop letting me off the hook. I hurt people. So I don't know. I'm hoping they're not going to start creating tension between them after they just got together. They probably will. I want them to be okay. Mika's not going to be thrilled because she's trying to lay down all these rules.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I like her rule.
I just love Mika so much. Everything that comes out of her mouth, it's pure humor. I need to see a ton more of Helm and Mika, because they were saying that they can't be together if Helm's going to come back. But it's like, let's hope that they're just kidding themselves, and that's not going to be a thing, because I need them to be together.
When has that ever stopped anyone at Grace Sloan with one of them being their boss? It never has. There's a form to fill out, right? Go fill out the form in HR and just roll with it. If you're already in a committed relationship.
Yeah, so hopefully we get to see a ton of them. Yeah. I hope Richard is going to be okay. I really thought Amelia was going to be the one that spins out and Richard saves her, but it looks like it might be the other way around. So hopefully he's okay, but I feel like we might be seeing him spinning out a little bit, because especially with Catherine's diagnosis, I mean, she's not getting any better. So I think we'll see some fallout there. Yeah. No more Winston and Maggie. I don't care about them. I don't know what to think about Meredith and Nick, because yay, they're back together. I'm happy, but I love having Nick on the show.
Same.
And Meredith isn't coming back. I don't know, like, what have we heard as far as Ellen Pompeo? Is she committed to any episodes for next season?
I haven't heard anything, but I haven't heard either way, so I don't know.
I'm going off the assumption that she's not fully committed, and so we won't be seeing as much of Meredith. So I'm wondering how that relationship is going to work.
Yeah.
a lot more, hopes and, I wonder ifs
Yeah,
than
yeah.
prediction, but
I mean, I agree. I want her and Nick to. The thing is, with her and Nick, he's lived a life of traveling because he was a transplant surgeon, and so I mean, I feel like maybe him having to go back and forth wouldn't be that big of a deal for him. And Meredith is perfectly fine on her own. So she's definitely not the needy woman that's going to need her man there with her all the time every weekend to like. I think if any couple can do this long distance and actually make it work for a long period of time, it's those two. I think it's fine. They can make it happen if they want to.
yeah,
So,
it better work.
yeah. But I guess that's it for this season of our ABC season one Station 19s. In the meantime, though, this summer, definitely come join our Facebook group because, like, it might be a long time before we get new episodes. The writer's strike is definitely changing things. We have no idea how long it's going to say. They're saying possibly January before we get new episodes. So come join our Facebook group and chat with us. It's Grey's Anatomy, Grey Family Fan Club. Check us out on our other socials. We do stuff there too. Most importantly, subscribe definitely to the podcast. Let us know what else you want to see. I know this summer we've got some different stuff planned.
We have Cruel
we don't
Summer
have
coming back really
Cruel
soon.
Summer is coming back, so we'll be recapping those. We're going to try to dive into some of our Netflix shows here and there, just some different things. But if there's anything particular you want to see us discuss, shoot us an email or leave us a comment. We're up for ideas here of what content you guys want to have. I think as far as our regular season, we've already finished up the 911s. We have one more week of our Chicago show, so we'll have that episode out next week. And then otherwise, we'll be back with some different stuff and talk to y'all soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.